2015 to 6 months that are left in it, what is it that they need to pay attention to? What's a tip or a nugget they can take away with them?
Just have faith, that God's going to lead you through things. Find a Bible-based church to be able to go to so you can share the message with like-minded people, because it's a lot easier to be a stronger Christian when you're surrounded by other Christians. And in this day and age, that's something that's really necessary, I think, in life.
Great stuff. Great stuff, Jeff. I really believe it. When I was raising my children, I told them in school if they hung around with 9 crackheads, they'd probably end up to be number 10. So if they hung around with 9 Christian-minded children, they could become number 10. It's good advice. Appreciate your time today. We look forward to having you back on the show.
Thanks, Tony. I look forward to it as well.
Folks, we're going to take a commercial break, and before we go to break, I want to make sure you go to the website, southernguidance.com. Reach out to Jeff Bearden. It's important to find the tools needed to be able to do things for your children, for your grandchildren, for children in your community, for children in your church. If you volunteer in youth in your church, maybe Jeff could be someone that could come and speak to the older youth groups in your church community. We're going to have to find out. I'm going to reach back to Jeff offline to find out if he does anything virtually on the internet as far as webinars or teleseries where he can reach more people across the country as well. So make sure to stay tuned. We'll be right back with my next guest, Celeste Davis. She's the founder of the Wellness Workshop. So we'll be right back after this here short break.
So you think you're tough enough for Tough Talk with Tony Gambone? Tony knows how to dish it out. Can you take it? Tony Gambone is a communicator, mentor, and entrepreneur whose tough style and generous spirit quickly garnered recognition in many a competitive arena. Now he's bringing his intelligence and knowledge to you as a hard-hitting radio talk show host and thought leader. Tune in and see for yourself. Tough Talk with Tony Gambone. It's a sure thing. To find out more, go to toughtalkwithtonyGambone.com.
Listen to The Legal Eagle and The Coach each Wednesday from noon to 1 p.m. on Tough Talk Radio Network. Leading local and national experts in business will share their keys to success so that our listening audience can be educated and entertained along the way to becoming all they can be. So whether you're new to business or highly experienced, The Legal Eagle and The Coach with hosts David Alterburn and Brian Kaiser is a great radio program for you. For more information, go to Legal Eagle and thecoachradio.com.
All right, welcome back to Tough Talk Christian Radio. My name is Tony Gambone, and I'm here every Thursday from 9 to 10 a.m. Central Standard Time on the Tough Talk Radio Network. Great interview with Jeff Bearden. He's known as the Get Back on Your Feet guy. You can find out more about him by going to southernguidance.com. Bullying with children is such a big issue. And it's growing and it's growing. And as parents, we don't even know about it half the time. And as youth, we don't know what to do about it most of the time. So really important if you have the opportunity to meet Jeff Bearden or have him come out and speak to your church, your community, or even your company. It's a good idea. Think about it. Reach out to Jeff Bearden at southernguidance.com. My second guest is founder of the Wellness Workshops. Celeste Davis has helped Christian professionals across the United States and around the world. It's her mission and her pleasure to help members of the body of Christ restore youthful energy and vision, reach a comfortable weight, reverse premature aging and chronic health problems, and rest well. So, the result is strength, stamina, and confidence so that their body is able to accomplish God's plan and purpose for their lives. Now, we know that things are different today as far as food goes as they were back in biblical times. They didn't have drive-thrus, and they didn't have McDonald's, and they didn't have a lot of things in our air and all the different things. So it's really important to understand the value of being healthy, because that's where it starts. If you're not healthy, you can't help other people. If you're not here, you can't help anyone. And if you don't stay healthy and pay attention to what you breathe and chew on, well, life's going to get a little bit complicated for you. So what I'd like to do this morning is welcome Celeste Davis to the show. Celeste, welcome.
Hi, Tony. Thanks for having me.
It's my pleasure. I love doing the radio shows because I get to get so much education from it that, it just really helps me. So before we get into the wellness workshop and, the fact that you're an author and a radio host and a speaker and a health coach, I want to let people know a little bit about you. So where are you from originally, and where are you calling in from?
We live in Central Oregon in the mountains in the Cascade Mountains. I grew up in Kansas, but moved to Oregon with my family when I was a teenager. Met my husband, Phil, in high school. We celebrate our 40th wedding anniversary in December.
Wow.
So we've been together since we were babies, practically. I have a daughter who's 38 and 2 grandsons. They live in Las Vegas. And a son who is 33 and is a musician, and he and his wife live in Franklin, Tennessee, in the Nashville area.
Wow. So you get to travel to 2 other states, and you moved, and if I remember correctly, because you and I have had conversation, you live like in a more of a rural area. So you're not in a very populated area. Now that has its good and its bads. I mean, it's good to get away from all the hustle and bustle, but it makes it a little bit more complicated when it comes to doing what you do daily, is trying to reach hundreds of people to help them.
Yes, and so I work with people on the internet and on the phone as a general rule, and then I help people locally in our small area. We have 400 people in our town that we're 10 miles away from, and about 1,600 35 miles away, and then about 100,000 an hour and a half away. So you're right. I'm out, I can help the squirrels gather nuts.
Well, you make a joke of that, but it starts out, and I think it starts out with it. If it's real easy to do, it's probably not accomplishing a lot.
Yeah.
To overcome the harder things in life, the accomplishments are better. So, how did you get involved in the health arena? Becoming a health coach.
Well, for 10 years, starting at age 38, I was very sick. I had female problems, kidney problems. I ended up with type 2 diabetes, irritable bowel syndrome, eczema, plantar fasciitis, rosacea, and I weighed 240 pounds. My marriage weight doubled by the time I was 42 to 240 pounds. So I was a pretty sick puppy, and, I didn't feel good. I wasn't able to really be active and involved in my life. I kept trying all the things that people try, go to the doctor, count calories, go to the gym, walk, all these suggestions that you read and you see on television. And I just became sicker to the point at age 42, the place where I worked, we did a wellness program, and they calculated our true body age, and at age 42, my true body age was 67. So that greatly diminished my lifespan overall, and it also was a really good reflection of how I felt. I felt like I was much older than I was. So, after 4 years of really trying, putting good effort into getting well, I was still fat, sick, and tired, and I finally said, Lord, I need you to send someone to help me. I can't do this by myself. It's not working. And God sent me to Las Vegas, where I met a Christian chiropractor, and he helped me turn my life around. In 21 days, all of my symptoms were gone. And at that point, I was like happy and mad. I was mad because here I'd wasted all this time and energy trying to get well, and happy that I felt so great. All my symptoms were gone. I was able to lose 16 pounds in just 21 days. And my husband joined me, and we decided at that point to make it a lifestyle change. And you know, Tony, I'm a Christian. I'm passionate about people following Christ and about following Christ myself. And I just wanted to tell everyone, you know, you don't have to be sick. And so I pursued education and learned as much as I could about why did this work for me so quickly. And then I've devoted the last 9 years. We celebrated our 9-year anniversary with the Wellness Workshop in May. I've devoted the last 9 years to letting people know you don't have to be sick. It's not that hard. And then mentoring them through that process.
Mm. So you're in a place, though, an industry. I mean, our health is so important, but if you were to stand back as a fly on the wall and watch, you would think that people couldn't even spell health or importance. I mean, you know, I'm in Houston, and there's so many restaurants, and there's so many people that eat out 4 nights a week. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know that there's healthy foods you could eat in certain restaurants, but that's kind of pushing it. My question is, how do you get people focused on the change and discipline of just, because going on a diet works as long as you're on the diet. But, you know, you're talking about making a change in your life's habits. And so how do you get people to purchase or buy into that wholeheartedly? I mean,
that
God
is a great
said we're supposed
question.
to take care of our body. But, I mean, the truth is, if you lose 40 pounds, okay, so, I'll gain a pound a month. It's not a big deal. But after, 2 years, I put 25 pounds back on, 1 pound at a time. And, so it's complicated, right? Because we as Americans are so easily to quit. So how do you keep your clients on board to staying plugged in to the change?
And that's a great question. First of all, I let them know that this is not an event. You know, if you're going to do this, you need to look at it as a lifestyle change. And that weeds out people who are just looking for a quick fix. The second thing we do is we find their trump card. And I don't know if you've ever played a card game where there's a trump card involved, but when you play
Pinochle.
Okay, so when you have a trump card, that trump takes all, right? And so we get to the bottom of what they really want out of life. A lot of my clients are in their 50s and 60s. They're looking towards retirement. Many of them have saved money and, planned their portfolio to be able to have a great life in retirement. So what do you want to do? Do you want to end up living in a nursing home and in a wheelchair where people are feeding you? Or do you want to be the person that's out there traveling, riding bikes, hiking, playing with your grandkids? What do you really want out of life? And so first of all, we establish that. And then when they are faced with those temptations of quitting or, treating themselves too much. We never say cheating because you can't cheat on yourself. But treating themselves too much, they can pull out that trump card and say, you know what, I would rather feel good today, or I would rather build my body so that I can enjoy my future. And that really helps people to stick with it. And then the third thing that we do is we teach them a really simple system that works in their life. The problem with starting a diet is you're taking someone else's system and you're putting it to work in your life, and then when your life doesn't work with that system anymore, you quit. And so we create a system that works in their life. And when I say system, I mean, when you started the show today, you had a system, right? You came into wherever your studio is, and you probably do the same thing every time you get on the radio. And we do that in our everyday life. We get up, we do the same thing every morning. We probably travel the same way to work. When we walk in the door, we do the same thing at work. And so we have to create a